The New York Jets are the NFL's, right now, biggest story, biggest attraction, and most marquee team. In terms of profile, it is what it is. My question is this, because I'm honestly not sure how I should process this. Number one, do I go all in, all right? And you know your partner's a little emotional at times, so all in for me is all in.
Mm-hmm.
So do I go all in and subject myself and enter that all-inness as emotionally vulnerable as I've ever been as a sports fan? Or do I enter this season and this summer with trepidation, almost, hoping for the best, but on some level, deep down in those recesses of the Jets' brain, expecting the worst?
All right, so I hate to do this, but you have to give me liberty to answer your question with the question.
100%.
And then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
Right? So just answer this small question for me, and then I'll answer your question. How do you do it every year? What do you do every other year? Aaron Rodgers not on your court. Sam Darnold's your quarterback. How did you go into that season?
I'm generally positive. I try to illuminate positives and then obviously lose my mind like a lunatic when they're not there, invisible. But I generally try to enter every situation with a positive mindset.
All right, so take that.
Yep.
And go buy your tickets to Las Vegas for February of 2024.
Just jump all in.
Just go do it.
Yeah. I like that answer.
Might not be there.
I was hoping you'd say this.
You're going to be betting on somebody else.
Oh, God, I was hoping you were going to say this.
Look, Let's go. It is an exciting time for the Jets fans right now. And when you think about the expectation, I mean, it's never been like this.
Never.
I don't even think the year they won the Super Bowl, and obviously we weren't around, they even had this kind of expectation. It was their first year in the NFL. Right?
There was no coverage like this.
No, but even if there was coverage, nobody would have expected the Jets with Joe Namath to be the best team in the NFL and win the Super Bowl, right? So this is a unprecedented level of expectation. I'm here, though, to tell you there's a lot that could go wrong. There's a whole lot that could go wrong. We'll start at the very top and then work our way down.
I got a list, huh?
Not really a list. It's just kind of the thoughts in my head.
Okay.
So we'll start at the top, and not the owner. We'll go below him. Not the GM because I like him. Let's go to the head coach.
You go to Saleh.
Let's go to Robert Saleh. Is Robert Saleh the right head coach?
I don't know.
And best answer. This is why I'm saying get your tickets, but you might be rooting for somebody else.
Okay.
Is Aaron Rodgers, that's probably the next step, is Aaron Rodgers, I guess I could throw Nathaniel Hackett in there as well, are Aaron Rodgers and Nate Hackett going to have this without doubt humongous impact that lifts this Jets offense to a level that it hasn't been seen before, that's better than the Chiefs, it's better than the Buffalo Bills, it's better than the Cincinnati Bengals, it's better than the Chargers? Are they definitely going to be that?
Let me answer it this way. I think Aaron Rodgers is about to author one of the greatest New York sports seasons of all time.
Okay, that's a positive. That's in the check column.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line. You get to the offensive line. Where are you at? Dwayne Brown's 38 years old. I mean, maybe not literally, but he's close to it, 38 years old.
No, he's up there.
Yep, Mekhi Becton is bitching about having to play right tackle last year. Now he's got to earn his playing time, and he's trying to undermine this team. I don't want to say it's terminal because I don't think it is, but it's a bad start to an important year for him. And also for this offensive line.
Also some great assets there. AVT, one of the best young players in football. Has multiple positions.
Love that kid.
Max Mitchell, some depth.
Yep.
We don't need to get in the weeds of the roster. Right. But I would answer that with I am genuinely optimistic about the offensive line, though I am aware of some of the trapdoors that could sabotage that enthusiasm.
Breece Hall coming back from an ACL injury. Is he going to be the Breece Hall that was a
Not
beast?
for the first month of the season. He's not going to be.
There you go. What do you got?
I think you got to be fair with that. Temper it.
Let's flip to the other side of the ball. You drafted some really good players over there. Will McDonald in the first round. I think they give a lot of depth. But is Quinnen Williams going to be here?
That's going to be resolved. That's just posturing. Listen, the Jets have been terrible. Now, this predates Joe Douglas. The stuff with Jamal Adams, I'm happy he didn't resign him, thank God. Mm-hmm. But, the Jets have been so painfully unable to draft, develop, and extend. And the rest of the players around the league see that. You've got to reward your own. Quinnen Williams is a superstar. Quinnen Williams going nowhere. I'm not worried about that. All right, it's going to get done.
DJ Reed's going to have the same season he had last year.
Terrific player.
Sauce Gardner's not going to have a sophomore slump.
Superstar.
All right, so you're convinced from most of what I was saying that there's a check in that column.
Most of it, except the head
positive.
coach.
And so
that's the biggest question for me.
It is a huge question. Now, I have faith that the Jets are going to be fun as hell to watch this year. They're going to be interesting. But for those people who are literally buying their tickets to Las Vegas, and again, they might be just doing it for other reasons, in February for the Super Bowl, because that's where it is. It's out at the Raiders facility. Forget what they even call that big spaceship, but it's awesome. You might want to pump your brakes just a little. It's good to be excited.
Yep.
It's good to have all this massive expectation because the Jets have not had this collection of talent. I can't think of the last time, or if ever, they've had this kind of talent. But Super Bowl, I think you got to pump your brakes on the Super Bowl. Everybody's talking about it. How many times have you gone into a season saying the Jets are going to get to the Super Bowl? Never.
I mean,
Pump
honestly, in my lifetime, I was really too young to look at the 82 team that way, even though I was watching them, but I wasn't processing it that way. I would say twice. After the 98 season, which was year number 2 for Bill Parcells, and of course opening, week 1, that's when Vinny ruptured his Achilles against the Patriots. I was at the game. So going into 99, we thought the Jets were going to get there. And then after Rex's first trip to the AFC Championship game, the next year, Hard Knocks, the expectations through the roof, maturity for Sanchez, blah, blah, blah. We knocked on the door the previous year. Now we're going to kick it down. Those were the 2 years. Those were the only 2 years of my life. Yeah, that's it.
I look at the schedule, the Bills, the Cowboys, New England, Kansas City, just up the first part of it, Denver, Philadelphia. There are a lot of wins there. There's also some potential losses.
I understand that.
And so the challenge is going to be coaching and keeping the expectation in check. Because
to your second point, that's the genesis of my question. I don't know that I can do that. I don't know if I can keep the expectation. I don't know that we're like, why should we even try to keep it in check?
I don't care if you should.
Just think that this is the year.
But
just think the Jets are going to crush it. Just honestly embrace that mentality.
I would if I was a Jets fan. I get it.
Okay.
I 100%. But if I'm a Jet player and I'm looking to February, I don't even know what date it is now, February 15th or whatever it is, second week of February, into Los. If I'm looking there, you easily get derailed when you're looking too far out into the future. And I love this team. I love the Sauce Gardners of the world. I love the Garrett Wilsons of the world, but they're young and they need direction. And the positive is that Aaron is there. Aaron Rodgers he hasn't been at OTA in, 4 years. He never went to the OTAs out in Green Bay. So he's there. And that's a great thing for this young team that has so much young talent that they're depending on to get there. And the only way they're going to get there is if they don't look at it. If they don't listen to what sports media says, what their fans says, what writers are saying, what the pro football whatever is saying about projections. They can't listen to that stuff because the more you look at the prize, the more you get lost trying to find your way
I
there.
get that. No, from a player's point of view, I absolutely get that. From our point of view, we're popping champagne already. It doesn't matter. We're ready. 877-337-6666. Like, it's a legitimate question. I mean, come on, Jet fans. How do you look at this? I mean, the expectations are absolutely astronomical. The coverage, whether it's good or bad, is going to be off the charts and omnipresent. And right now, they're the highest profile team in the NFL. Like I said, not Kansas City, not Philly, not Dallas, nobody else. It's the New York Jets now.
Simply because of the quarterback.
Because of the quarterback, yeah. But also, you lace that enthusiasm with the reality of not having played in a playoff game since 2010. During that run of hell, we've had 4 head coaches, 3 general managers, 14, I won't name them all, trust me, 14 starting quarterbacks. There's not even a transition. That's what's crazy about this. You're going from 17 miles an hour to the Autobahn. Like, we're not even getting, on the Bell Parkway and trying to get in the left lane, get a little steam. Well, you're not going to get any steam on the belt. You know what I mean? It's not even like a little highway where you can just work your way up there. It's full throttle.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I'll tell you this, I don't think I'm equipped to handle failure here. I'm just going to tell you the way it's going to go. I don't think if this season doesn't go the way we need it to go, I think I will officially break.
I think a lot of Jet fans
will be broken
because you've had you've had the low expectation that's gotten a little bit exciting and then fallen off. But you come back to the pre-expectation. You've also had all right, we were good last year. The year they went to what year was that? They went to the championship game and then went the subsequent years.
So 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
2010, 2011.
Exactly. So you had that where you're like, we're a good team and we know where we're expectation. It wasn't Super Bowl. It was, let's, have a good season, get back to the playoffs. It wasn't, we are potentially winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is the first time I can remember where the Jets are one of the top favorites to win the Super Bowl.
And outside of the quarterback spot, it's fairly organic. I mean, those teams, and listen, those guys were good, and I could just rifle through a bunch of Damian Woody, really good old lineman. We didn't draft him. He was drafted by the Pats. Obviously, Bart Scott, really good player for us, right? Came for the Ravens. You look at Cromartie, Chargers. I mean, all these guys that we had, we somehow pieced it together, and it was never, even though it was really fun and Rex was awesome, it was never sustainable. And then after that, the next iteration of the only competitive team the last 15 years, really, was the 2015 Jets, and you had Brandon Marshall, somebody else's property, and Eric Decker, somebody else's property. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Ryan Fitzpatrick, somebody else's property. So it was never built from the ground with draft picks and, home run draft picks and this internal organic energy that made it feel legitimate. This feels legitimate.
It does.
And that's what scares me.
But here's the danger in this, and this is really the crux of what we've been talking about. Anything that's good or bad that happens is going to get exacerbated.
No question.
Right? Because for the first time in a really long time, the New York Jets have center stage. And when you have center stage, there's a responsibility that comes in how you handle yourself. Because you're not going to get away with doing some stupid off the wall or whatever, some dumb thing that's disruptive potentially, not even really reality, just to the team. People will hammer it. People will talk about it. Like if you're lying in the weeds, then it's easy, right? You can get away with dumb things like that. But for a team that's going to have all the scrutiny in the world, every media member is going to be there when training camp opens
They've
up.
got every camera there now. First open OTA.
Exactly.
Everybody is there today.
Everybody
Everyone.
is out in Florham Park today because they want to see what this Jets team is all about, which makes the margin of error tiny. And it's a great thing if you can perform to it. It's a terrible thing if you start cracking under all that intense scrutiny, which is going to be there. Every little thing. Like, they're going to get asked about Mekhi Becton today.
Yep.
Right? They're going to get asked about, Breece Hall's knee. They're going to ask about, can they understand this new offense that Nate Hackett is bringing in? I'm sure they will. I'm not worried about it because Nate's a great coach. They're going to be asked about Quinnen Williams. They're going to be asked about Carl Lawson's pay cut. They're going to be asked, like, every little thing is going to be talked about and exacerbated, and that can be a humongous distraction. Granted, it is the first OTA. We are 2 months away from training camp, but the attention is already falling down on the Jets, and that's a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing.
877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney here on the Fan. No doubt, uncharted territory. We're simply not used to this. So the question is, do you embrace the enormity of the stage and take it for what it is and for what it's worth and all the ups and the downs and the craziness that will come with it invariably? You just roll with it? Or do you almost insulate your emotions and like preemptively and protect yourself and say, well, I mean, it's a lot to ask of Aaron Rodgers to just waltz in here and elevate this moribund franchise to a place that we've never been in many of our lifetimes. I mean, I'm going with the former. Emotions, I'm putting it all on the table. I don't know how you can hurt me a whole lot more. Yeah, I'm basically a corpse at this point as a football fan. We're half dead. So if they stick the final stake in our heart, then that's what happens.
No, that's not going to happen. He is going to be 40 this year, but that's neither here nor there. I'm real interested to see his first press conference as, like, officially as a Jet. We saw the opening press conference. It was great. He talked about how he wanted to be here. It's going to be all this, the Lombardi Trophy looks lonely from Super Bowl III, right?
Yeah, Super Bowl III.
Yep, it just looks lonely over there. But as a Jet who's been around, now he's been around. He's met a lot of these guys. He's talked to a lot of these guys. We didn't even talk about the Zach Wilson, part of this conversation.
I'll be honest, right? I don't care.
I'm really interested to see that he's absorbed some of Florham Park in Jet Nation.
Yeah.
What he's going to say.
Well, I saw a tweet. So Diana Rossini does a really good job. I think she's a Long Island girl. She, unless she's with ESPN, she put out this tweet about 50 minutes ago. She's out there. Spoke to multiple Jets players and coaches about the impact of Aaron Rodgers. The standard's been raised. The little details are significant to Rodgers. Everyone's being held accountable in meetings on and off the field and off the field. Rodgers has, in caps, a lot to say. He's, in caps, all in, trust is building. Now, those are just words. What does it really mean? Okay. But one thing that I always said about Rodgers when we were going back and forth, this ridiculous dance, would he come, would he not, would he come, would he not? I always thought he was coming. And I always thought when he got here, he would have great clarity, but also great urgency and be incredibly locked in. And a lot of people were saying this. If they weren't sure if he was going to be all in. Would he come in, show up a day, fly back wherever he flies, just parachute in? And I never thought that would even be remotely possible because of the intense pride and the stick it to the Packers factor. He's saying the right things. That guy is looking to make them look bad.
And
greatness isn't taking a day off.
To your point, I don't know if he's left.
That's even more accurate,
maybe
actually.
He has, but I'm not sure he's left.
He's been around for a minute.
He's been around. He has not just hopped in and said, I'm a part-time fixture for the New York Jets.
Nah, he's going to Knicks games and Ranger playoff games. He's all over the place, bonding with his boys. He's ready.
I think he bought a house. He's going to buy a house out here. So, I mean, there's a lot that indicates that he's already all in. I don't think he's flying back and forth to wherever the heck, California, wherever his house is.
Yeah, it's Cali.
And chilling for a couple of days and then coming back east. I don't think he's doing that at all. I think he's all in here.
There's no hiding. And that's the genesis of this conversation. There's no hiding. Front and center. Biggest story right now. It's either going to grow or eventually dissipate. And if it dissipates, it actually grows in a different direction in terms of negative energy and negative coverage. So, I mean, the next 7, 8, 9 months are going to be crazy. How do you process it? How do you enter if you're a Jets fan? How do you really enter the season? Aside from hopeful, that's a given. But I understand a lot of Jet fans, based on the scars, we try to protect ourselves and shield ourselves. Screw it. You've already beat me to a bloody pulp. I'm vulnerable. I'm all in. Let's go. How about you?